Some good, thank you. Yep.
Pressure off after Sunday?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I thought that the players performed incredibly well, put in a good performance in one which obviously saw us get a well-earned point.
You can go into this now with obviously greater confidence, greater spirit, but also with the fact that you had that great performance as well on Sunday. A bit more of the pressure lifted off your shoulders.
Well, I think the performance gave everybody a lift because we thought we played much better than we have done. We hope it gives us a lift getting into this game now on Thursday. And if we can perform at those levels, then we'll give ourselves a great chance of trying to qualify for a semi-final.
You say if you could perform at those levels, I mean, the team now have set themselves what they have to do for every game for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, let's be fair, we've probably set ourselves up over the last 2 years with the levels we've played at over the last 2 years, and that's why expectations are so high here now, because how well we've done in the last 2 seasons. But recently we've not played as well as we'd like, but I thought the Arsenal game we played really, really well, and the players put in a really good game, good opportunity. They played so well in so many aspects of the game, so let's hope that we can continue.
The word expectation, your favourites to win the competition, does that add anything to your team talk?
No, because I think I've said right from the start, I think a manager's job is to raise expectations. So isn't it incredible that West Ham are expected to win the European Conference League in there's only 3 European competitions to be in, and to give us the chance to do that, and people think that we are worthy of it, says a lot.
Just a couple more. Some outside of West Ham obviously say that it's not one of the major European competitions, but Mourinho seemed quite happy to win it last season. And I guess if this becomes your first major bit of silverware, you'll be doing a gig as well.
I agree. I don't think there's any tournaments. Everybody wants you to play your best team in all your cup games. So why would you not be trying to win this competition? It probably. You might tell me more, but I'm guessing that the payout for winning it is far greater than any competition you could win, any cup competition you could win in this country, that's for sure.
Finally, you mentioned there about teams. Strong team tomorrow, your strongest possible team. I mean, do you want to win it?
Well, I wouldn't give that out, but over the years we've had to sort of chop and change, because the thing about it, if you're good enough and you're fortunate enough to be in the Champions League, you get games on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, and you're able to play on the Saturday or the Sunday. The hardest thing about being a team either in the Europa League or in the Conference is that you have to play Thursday and Sunday. So that does have an impact on all managers in their decision making and what you do. It's not just quite as easy as saying play your best team or put out your best players. There's a little bit more behind it than that. Thanks very much.
David,
Hi there.
Honour for this one.
No.
Is a girl okay? He was out on the training today.
Yeah, we expect Naif to be okay. He had a foot injury which he got in the game against Gent over there, and didn't recover in time for Sunday, but he's back training, so we should have him back available, yes.
You said last week that Gent were very physical and very strong, and that you didn't do enough to threaten them. Can you threaten them more, do you think, in the second leg?
I believe so. We're at home, big crowd behind us. We've had a couple of nights when we've played Seville and Lyon in stages very similar to what we're in now. So hopefully we can rise to the occasion again and see ourselves through.
Yeah, and some of those nights you referred to last season were immense, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Is this as important, do you think?
I can't see why it would be less important. I mean, because it's the Europa Conference League compared to the Europa League. It's only a name which is different. Winning a European competition means everything to MD, and we're going to try and do the best we can.
You mentioned the Thursday-Sunday dynamic. Is Gent bigger than Bournemouth on Sunday?
Well, I'm certainly not comparing them, but I've always come up with a sort of analogy that you have to win the next game. Your job as a manager is to attempt to win your next game. That's always the big thing, and we'll attempt to win the next game.
Played 10 Premier League Sunday games after conference games on the Thursday. You've won 3 out of 10. Is that a coincidence, or what would you put that down to?
Well, you know what we're putting it down to. Putting it down to, as we said, it's Thursday, Sunday, and if you look at the teams who are involved in this type of football, it becomes very difficult. But it's not quite easy to explain. If you don't quite understand what goes into the preparation and the team organisation and the things behind the scenes that go on. But would we give it up? No, we wouldn't. And we're trying to improve that number, what you've said. But we're quite happy to have said it. I think we've won 10 games in Europe and drawn 1. So we're very proud of that record as well.
And obviously, Gent were quite dangerous, weren't they, last week? How wary have you got to be?
Really, really wary of them. I think Gent are a difficult side. I don't think there's any teams, when you get to the last 8 of any competition, you very rarely are you getting any poor sides in it. They've all worked very hard to get there, especially in European football, because you've had group stages, you've had to play teams twice. I think Gent dropped out of the Europa League down as well, so they were in the the competition above what you're talking about. So overall, we need to play very well.
David, you mentioned the nights last year against Sevilla and Lyon. I suppose because of how well you've done in Europe this year, you've not really had that level of jeopardy, maybe those iconic nights. Is tomorrow the chance for one of those and someone to be a hero?
Well, I believe that it's an opportunity, and we have to try and take the opportunity. That's what it is. There's no given right that you deserve to win, or because people might see you as favourites, is what we talked about there. No given right. We have to earn the right to get through into the semi-final. We certainly earned the right to win the group. We certainly have earned the right to be in the position we're in. We earned the right to be in this competition by finishing 7th in the Premier League last year. So if we want to be a semi-finalist, then we have to earn the right tomorrow night. We have to play well enough, put in similar performances, which we've in the main we've been coming up with better levels. So hopefully we can do that tomorrow.
I know you say you don't want to look too far ahead, but this time last year you were looking at probably a semi-final against Barcelona. Everyone thought this year, if you get through at the moment, it looks like it'll be Anderlecht who you've beaten already this season. Does that add a little bit more, knowing that there'd be a very winnable semi-final at the end of this potentially as well?
I think I can only concentrate in the next game, and that's trying to beat Gent. And they made it difficult for us in the first game. And in any cup competition, I think I said this after the game, is any cup competition in this country, whoever you play could go either way. We've all seen it. We see it a lot here. So I would never take it for granted. I know I'm going to have to play really well to get ourselves through.
David, you've had a lot of nervy times in Europe, especially last season with Sevilla and Lyon. Are you expecting another nervy game? Because these games always tend to go down to the last minute.
Yeah. I didn't see many games, and you can disprove me a little bit. I don't see many games where teams are winning games really comfortably, winning it. I think games are pretty tight in Europe. So from that point of view, I would expect a game to be another probably tight game, and we've got to hope that we can sort of do what we have to do to win. But I would expect it to be a difficult game.
But again, the players have experience. I remember Yarmolenko scoring in extra time, and it all going on. They know how to kind of get these results. So you don't have to worry about how they act.
No, we've been here before, and which hopefully will help. But a lot of teams in Europe have. We hadn't at West Ham. We hadn't been in Europe before, so we didn't know how the players were going to react in any of the games. But I also have to say, last year we had a great momentum. Probably, we had a terrific momentum most of the season. We'd started to sort of pull up a little bit shorter because of the Thursday, Sunday games right at the end. Because when you're playing the likes of Lyon, Seville, Frankfurt in two-legged games, it's very difficult then to have to be, to not to play what you would see as your better players and your best teams towards those games. And as was alluded to there, then you've got the Premier League games to follow that up on the Sunday. So we're getting a bit to the tickly bit now, and we're getting close to knowing that we have to play well and put a team out which we think is good enough to get us a result.
And Gent, one would assume, would have watched the Arsenal game. Is that what, apart from the first 10 minutes obviously, but the rest of that game is what you want your team to be? Was aggressive, was hungry, you had to fight, and you could have won it in the end. Is that what you want?
Definitely. We want that as a basic. That's what we said. We want the basics. Now from that, then I'd like to build on lots of other things like, improving our football, our style, the way we play, all those things. But if you don't have the first fundamental things, then you don't have it. And let's be fair, probably for the last couple of years we've had all the fundamentals and we've done the basics really well. All those things you talk about have been part of our DNA, but we saw it in a different way at the weekend, and it's now for the players to pick that up me to lead them and show them how we want it done, and hopefully we can do that.
Has that been tough for you going back to basics? Because you said about how you want to have a more expansive game at West Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly you said, right, no, we need to get the fundamentals right. Has that been tough because you obviously had a plan at the start of the season what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
And maybe it's a tiny step back just to get
Yeah. Well, I've been here twice before where we had to take ourselves out a difficult league position, and there's partly a way where you have to get that job done, and you have to try and make sure that you do that the best you can. As I said, and I've used the word expectations again. Expectations then were that we wanted to be a different type, but we've not been able to quite reach those expectations. So we have to find a way of getting enough and being good enough to win or get results. And we've started to show those signs where we're finding ways of winning and getting points, and we're going to have to keep doing that to the end of the season. But at the moment, the European football has been so good for us because I think up until we had 10 wins out of it. Last week we drew in a quarter-final away from home, which at any time would be seen as a good result. Because of our expectations of how well we've done in Europe, it was actually seen as probably maybe not so good. But that's what happens when you start to raise expectations. So tomorrow night, we hope we can go about and keep those expectations high and try and get ourselves towards the semi-final.
And just finally, it could go to penalties. Ben Rama's on a really good run of penalties at the moment. You've had Bowen, Rice, Getzer, Lenzini all taking penalties. Is that, if it does come to that, would you be quite relaxed about picking your first one? Because you've got quite a few players who, under pressure, have taken penalties before.
Would I be quite relaxed? I don't know if I'd necessarily be quite relaxed. I think any manager who's in a penalty shootout, you've always got anxiety. You know, we're seeing a lot of penalty shootouts. I'm thinking of ones where we're going 10-9 and some outrageous numbers with penalty shootouts nowadays. So, am I comfortable with it? No, I'm not sure exactly I would be, but I'm confident that I'm beginning to get people who I think are, good strikers of the ball and maybe been in this situation a bit more often. But you have to remember we lost a penalty shootout against Blackburn earlier in the season, so it can easily happen.
David, is this second leg off the back of Arsenal on Sunday? Is this a really good time, because I know you're frustrated with not getting the basics right in the first leg, but then coming into Arsenal, coming back off the positivity of that, is this a really good time?
I think that we've given ourselves a real boost, a real shot in the arm, and we're saying to ourselves, hey, come on, let's get right on it again. Look at our levels. The levels compared to where we were at Arsenal, compared to where we felt we were on the Thursday night, were hugely different. So we were able to, I think we probably had 7 players who started against Arsenal who didn't start against Gent. So there's a little bit of that as well if you look into it as well. So there was quite a few changes, and it gave us a bit of freshness for the Arsenal game as well. Not everybody was sort of tied up with energy deficiency after the game in Gent.
You just did that a lot, didn't you? You had sort of a mixed team, but you sort of went half one leg, half the other.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's a potential option for you, especially with one eye on Sunday.
We have to, it's thing. But we're in the sort of the last few hurdles of the Grand National to go now. And you've got to keep at it and keep going. Get over the next few jumps and hopefully you can see the finishing line.
Just one more from me. Lucas Fabianski turned 38 this week, and obviously in the Premier League, whenever he's been available, he plays this season. He's one of the few players that are out of contract in the season. Is there any sort of with those players yet as to their future beyond the 8?
No, there's not, because obviously we're solely concerned with our league position, making sure we get ourselves correct, and so that's probably been the biggest reason we've not really approached any of it just now. But hopefully we'll be able to get some things done shortly.
David, I think the only 2 West Ham captains who've ever lifted a trophy are Bobby Moore and Billy Bonds from memory. How appropriate would it be, for however long he's at the club, how appropriate would it be for Declan to lift a trophy, a cup of some sort for West Ham before he moves on, if he moves on?
Well, I think you saying that it's that long. Bobby Moore, Billy Bonds, two of the finest players and names which most people will always remember, no matter what football club you support. I think that in itself is a big thing, not just for whoever's the captain, and at the moment it's Declan, but I think that's a big incentive for the club. It feels that long since the club have been close to a trophy, really.
How about yourself? Because you've only got 1,085, I think, games on the board as a manager. I know it's not all about you, but you'd like a bit of silverware.
Oh, definitely. Had one or two bits in my career, but not the big ones. And you know, as I said many times, you know, I'm in awe of the likes of Jose Mourinho and Pep and the people who win trophies. They're incredible managers who do it. But if you look through the whole history of managers, there's not many who actually go on to do it.